what's going on in Miami and they lose their game, and Tyreek Hill and some of the comments he made after the game. And even, look, it's going to come out, it seems like, that he pulled himself from the game. It wasn't an injury. McDaniel didn't know that he was out of the game until right before he started calling plays. And I think, Tyreek looked up at the scoreboard and said, I don't know. I think the season's going to be over for me. And that was a hard look when you compare Mike Evans, and obviously they're going to the playoffs, and Tyreek, and the disappointment of not making playoffs, but the way that they've shown themselves as leaders throughout the season.
Yeah, it's tough. When you make that decision and you're wearing a C on your chest, unfortunately, regardless of how it goes from here, even the comments after the game, it's something that lives with you, man, because the reality is I've always said this, when you wear that C in your chest, or when you're in a position of leadership, your degree of how you're judged is totally different. You're not one of the other guys, and you're not expected to act like the other guys. You're expected to act like a captain and a leader. And so really, for your message to be one, whatever comes out of how that situation was is clear. There wasn't a lot of great communication of why he was in or out of the game, both from him and from the head coach. And then after the game, the way he handled the press conference, I'm out of here, those kind of things. Like, man, if you're a captain of something, you've signed up to say, hey, I'm going to be the person who's going to stand in the front and lead for this football team. That's not how you handle things. And It's not the way you go about things. And unfortunately, it becomes a reflection of really your character as a football player. I'm not talking about as a human being. I don't know that much about Tyreek Hill personally, but as a football player and in a locker room, that is a part of your life, and that becomes a reflection of who you are. And you start people go down that road of, all right, you were traded away from the Kansas City Chiefs, and they went on to win a Super Bowl, right? You got your contract. Now you're in Miami. Here you are. This whole thing was, this is my team now, and I'm going to be the reason we'll be successful. And now at the first point of adversity here in Miami, you want to leave and walk away again. That becomes something that becomes your narrative. And it becomes tough to understand where you're going to fit and where you're going to be good, because whether you're getting paid the most money or whether you're not, you're going to continue to, if things don't go your way, demand to get out or demand to want change, instead of saying, hey, I'm going to fix this place. We are going to be better because I'm here and I'm a part of it. I'm going to be a part of the reason that this place is going to be better because I entered it and got here. I'm not going to let adversity change that mindset and demeanor. And so you've seen him kind of allow that to happen now. If he has to go to another team, it starts to become your story.
Yeah, and maybe he will, but I look at a guy like that, and there's a honeymoon phase. So wherever he goes now, whether it's going to be in Miami or whether he's going somewhere else next year, you're on a 1-year rental. Because after a year, then you're going to wear out your welcome. You're not going to be happy with things around you, whether you're not getting paid enough, or the team's not good enough, or the quarterback's not good enough, whatever it is. So wherever he goes, he's a 1-year rental. You get through the honeymoon phase, and then he moves on and goes somewhere else. And then you'll see, he's an unbelievable football player.
There's no doubt about that.
There's no doubt about that. He's probably, if not the most talented, he's in the top 5 in terms of talent in the NFL. But as you get older and your skills diminish, and that, factor of not being a great leader, not wanting to be around, as that continues to be where it is, you just see this disconnect, and then your career gets away from you. So I hope Tyreek finds his happy place. He's obviously still going to be very productive and going to be able to produce wherever he goes, but he also has to understand, that the window is shrinking a little bit for him. And, sometimes you keep thinking everywhere you go, they're the problem, not me, when, maybe you got to look in the mirror and figure out why it keeps happening to you.
This goes back to my caddy advice. You remember I told you this? I had a caddy one time tell me, we were having a conversation about this. And he said, here's one rule I kind of live by. He said, if 10 people tell you that somebody's an asshole, you should probably believe them. But if you have to convince 10 people that somebody else is an asshole, you're probably the asshole. That's just the reality.